Hello again, guys. Welcome back. I'm Mergen from Buxton. This is Adam Doolan joining us from Doolan Finance again. And I guess here we're at the Cremorne once again, just enjoying a beer and relaxing and just covering on some key topics, some key issues in today for the consumers and what questions they're asking. And one of late has been obviously with the Royal Commission and everything, and things tightening up in terms of lending, and people are mostly exposed, investors and first-time buyers, and what's it all mean for them, I guess. So enlighten us.
Yeah, no worries. I will try. It's obviously a very complex issue with many different layers, Mergs, but I'll try and sort of enlighten you a little bit as to what we are seeing out there. So yeah, obviously we're in a very interesting time at the moment with a lot more conversation going on around, and obviously the Royal Commission's one factor of that's going on at the moment, that we are hearing a lot more chatter, I guess, in the marketplace. There's definitely been some changes in the last little while in regards to borrowing capacity for consumers looking to buy properties. Things are certainly tightening up, and it's just the cycle we're in at the moment. Will that continue to happen? How long that'll continue to happen, that's anybody's guess, but certainly the cycle at the moment is that finance is getting harder to get. Certainly not impossible, but it's just certain things that are tightening up that makes certain areas of the market harder to obtain finance. I'll elaborate on that. One good example is that it is certainly getting harder for people to be able to buy their third and fourth investment property, a lot harder than it would have been, say, 6 to 12 months ago. So that is definitely having a little bit of an effect on our investor clients. I'm not sure whether you're sort of starting to see a little bit of that as well.
I have noticed that and personally experienced that as well. All these questions they wouldn't normally ask, and they did ask this time around, which is incredible. And but is there a silver lining there for the first home buyer?
Yeah, look, potentially. We're probably not seeing it just yet in the local market. Obviously, the local market's been very, very strong for quite some time, which is the knock-on effect to that has been that the unfortunate part of that is that it's getting harder and harder for first home buyers. In Geelong, the average house price has grown up considerably in the last sort of,
They have
5 to 10 years, but especially in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, it's really gone up. So that base level, entry level property, which once potentially was a little bit achievable for first home buyers, it's meaning that they need to have a fairly significant deposit before they get in, which is making it a little bit harder for first home buyers to get into the market. So you are correct. A lot of this tightening and government regulations is trying to slow down investor lending, and the method for trying to slow down investor lending is to try and allow first home buyers to get into the market. So whether that will have the flow-on effect that they are trying to achieve, potentially it will. So time will tell in that regard. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I suspect that's possibly the motive. When they abolished stamp duty for first home buyers under the 600,000 mark.
Yeah.
With the intent to give first home buyers an upper hand over investors, it kind of went the reverse, because investors were still quite cashed up, and now they'll just pay more. So first home buyers had to pay even more to secure the property. The demand shot through the roof. You give somebody an extra $15,000-$20,000 liquidity, they're going to have the ability to borrow more, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah.
So
it's just a knock-on effect, I guess. You can't have everything. Obviously, a lot of people in Geelong that own multiple properties or one property in Geelong, they are very happy because they've seen their property growth go up quite considerably. So that is a great thing for a lot of people. But then the knock-on effect to that is that obviously it's harder and harder for young people to get in. We're not seeing it impossible. One thing we are seeing a little bit at the moment is for first home buyers, potentially the use of parental guarantors is coming in a lot more than what we were seeing sort of 6 to 12 months ago. So there certainly is ways, and I'd recommend any first home buyer, if they are looking to come and see someone like myself as a mortgage broker, just to sit down and have an initial chat. Whether you think you're not quite ready yet, that's fine. But it always helps just to sit down and I guess hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, to see where you're at and where you need to get to in order to be able to seriously consider buying their first home.
That's where you should always start with your bank or the broker, because otherwise it's just a fantasy.
Correct.
You're looking at properties that you don't know whether you can afford, or Or vice versa, you're looking at areas where you can afford quite comfortably. Possibly you can up your budget to secure that location or home you can really afford. So unless you know, you probably shouldn't look. So
Yeah,
I think that's a good tip. Go see your broker, Adam, ideally, and then me, or the bank, and then start from there.
Correct.
So yeah, hopefully that answers your questions, guys. But once again, feel free to call anything else we can do for you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.